on the Rock, it's your favorite show. Hope on the Rock, it's not really a show. The stories and songs, sort of a virtual show. Tonight's guests, Kristen Pellerin and Heather Bambrick. The only place to go when you need hope.
Thanks, Evan. I'm getting that little pop-up on my computer screen that says, do you want to update? And no, friends, I don't want to update at this moment. Bye, Evan. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hope on the Rock. Does that ever happen to you when you're in the middle of something and then something just pops up into your life to kind of put you astray just for a moment? Well, here we are, and hopefully that will the next half hour that we're going to spend together will be a lot of fun, fruitful, and helping to build some virtual community as we share stories and songs from Newfoundland friends. So let's get right to it, shall we? Our first guest this evening is a dear friend of mine. I've known her for, oh gosh, I'm not going to count the years because it'll age both her and I, but she's one of this country's I'm going to say treasures on stage and screen, and one of the most beautiful humans inside and out. So welcome, Kristen Pellerin, to the show. Hey, Kristen.
Oh, hi. It's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you. How are you doing?
Doing well. All things considered. Yeah.
Where are you these days?
I'm in Stratford.
Oh, beautiful. I love Stratford.
Me too. It's really nice and peaceful here, so it's a good place to be.
Have you seen the Stratford Swans lately?
Yeah, they're out and about. They don't know about social distancing. They don't get the memo.
I should have had them come on as a special guest this evening. Maybe next time.
Next time, I'll put a word in. Yeah.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you. So, tonight is our second show in this kind of new format of kind of an interview and performance kind of style. And Nicole Power was our guest last week, and we started. Do you know Nicole? Have you?
Yes. Yeah.
From back home, and so, and you're from St. John's, is that right?
Mount Pearl.
Oh, okay. Mount Pearl. Holla to all the folks from Mount Pearl. We love you.
Pearl
girl. And you got the curl as well. So that's good.
I do today.
That's good.
It's been a while since I've put on any makeup.
Me too. So we started off the interview and our conversation last week with a question that I'm always so curious when I'm talking to fellow artists, and that's what inspired them to go into this business, and even business aside, to become an actor and to become an artist. So I'm going to ask the same question of you. What is there a moment in time that you thought, oh, this is what I need to do? Was it like when you were 5 years old? Was it in high school? Was there a moment that you're like, this is what I need to do to fulfill my life?
I remember it's kind of a little odd, but I remember being in my Aunt Patsy's rec room and watching Legends of the Fall with Julia Armand, and she had a scene where she was cutting her hair, and I remember having that first thought of like, I want to do that. But then there were other things afterwards, like Tolson Barrington at PwC and Shakespeare by the Sea. But I do remember that first moment, like that first thought. It's so random, but.
And we're grateful that it didn't hurt. Well, I mean, you would have been a great hairstylist, I'm sure, for cutting hair. But we're grateful that it went down the acting route as well.
Yeah. It could have gone either way.
It could have gone either way. You know, I've never seen that movie. I'm going to add that to my list.
Yeah, Brad Pitt. Yeah.
Oh, well, need you say more? If Brad Pitt's in it, I'll watch it. So you mentioned PwC.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So you are a student at PwC, and you are in there. You're in the second row from the bottom, over to the right. sneaking in there. Tell us about that photo, if you remember that photo and your time at PwC.
I do. Well, I was living in Mount Pearl, and I had heard about Tolson Barrington at PwC, and I knew I wanted to act, and I knew that theater program was exceptional. So I moved to PwC to learn from Tolson, and then we did Godspell that year and Fiddler on the Roof as well. But it was a fabulous program.
What is one thing that you took away from, because I know Tolson, he's such a beautiful man and a beautiful teacher. Is there one thing that you took away from his teaching?
He just taught me to put the story first, and he just sort of taught me what it means to have integrity, as for it to be about the characters and the story, and he just threw his whole self into everything he did, and so it was infectious.
Oh, that's beautiful. And what's interesting is that Nicole and I, in our conversation last week, we were talking about the same thing of the importance of authenticity in yourself and being truthful in yourself, and then of course the story that you're telling.
Mm-hmm.
So PwC, great, and then you head on to the National Theatre School. Is that right?
I did a year of university at MUN. I didn't get accepted first time around to NTS. And then I did a year at MUN, and I'm so glad I had that year, because I got to do musicals. We did Evita, and I was preparing to go into music school. And then,
really?
Yeah, so I'm really grateful for that year, and I'm a big believer in sort of the timing of things, and that was right for that to happen. So I was glad.
You know, Kristen, I remember seeing you in Evita. You played the mistress, is that right?
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I remember you breaking my heart during that show, in that moment, in that song. What's the song? Another Suitcase in Another Hall?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was beautiful. I remember that, and I'm having fond memories of it right now as we're chatting.
Oh, thank you.
So National Theatre School, and then that year in between, and isn't it? And I think those year in betweens are so important. I agree with you.
Yes, definitely.
And timing is everything, I think, right?
No, yeah, I needed that year. I took that year to sing, and also I got to grow for another year before going to theater school, which I'm really grateful for now, looking back.
Yeah, and so we've got theater school, and theater school can be intense. Hey, it can be rigorous for sure, but it doesn't train us and get us ready for the professional world. And this is a photo that I found, and we're bringing it back to the Newfoundland connection. Here's a photo of you, and I can only judge by the dress and by the telescope. That it's Saltwater Moon?
Yes, that's Saltwater Moon. We did that at Soul Pepper. Ted Dykstra directing, and David French was in the room with us in the rehearsal hall.
Oh, wow.
And Jeff Lillico, and it was, it was amazing.
David French, for those of you watching, he's the playwright of Saltwater Moon and the entire Mercer family series. He's no longer with us. But a cherished Newfoundland writer in the theater community. What was that like to be in the room with him as you rehearsed? Like, it's a beloved play.
Oh my gosh, I don't have a list of parts that I want to play. The only one I had two on my list, but the first one was Mary from Saltwater Moon. I was like, that's a Newfoundland girl's Juliet. That's what I thought, and I was like, I have to play that. And in the room, it was great to have. He was such a resource to have in the room in rehearsal. It was quite intimidating, but it was also it was surreal, and he just had insight that only he could give, obviously, and it was a gift to have him there in person.
I would have loved to see you in that role. That would have been so wonderful.
Oh, thanks.
Maybe next time.
You never know.
Never know. I'd go watch that version of Saltwater Moon. Mary.
Yeah. The 20 years.
40s. Yeah.
The 40s. Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because I'm sure lots happened then around Saltwater Moon. But then it brings us to this old character
Yeah. Exactly.
in Republic of Doyle.
Yeah.
So Nicole from last week, she's currently in Kim's Convenience, and we were chatting about the whole audition process and what it felt like to receive the news and the information. Do you remember that when you found out about playing the role in Republic of Doyle in the audition process?
Yes, I do. I remember going in there and auditioning with Alan in the room, and I wanted it so bad. And I normally like just let the chips fall where they may, but I wrote to my agent, and I was like, I really want this so bad. We have to make it happen somehow, please. And then it did. Yeah, he was just so wonderful in the audition process, and he's really conscious of actors and knowing what a difficult process auditioning is. So he was just so thoughtful and really supportive in the room, and like just wonderful.
You act both on stage and screen. Is there one big difference of the style between the two mediums?
I do find that on television things are just a bit more micro. So I think it's essentially the same thing. It's just kind of concentrated, but it is a different set of muscles, and you have to conserve your energy in different ways and things like that. I think at the heart of it, it's all made of the same stuff, but it's just different muscle groups.
Right on, right. So like spending time at Good Life and gyms will help you work out that muscle. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like sometimes screen can be a little bit more Pilates and I don't know, like more heavy lifting for theater, but it depends on what you're working on.
That's right. Okay, groovy. Sometimes you need some hot yoga in there. It's all depending.
Yeah.
And another show that you were a part of, and I believe this might have been before Republic of Doyle. This is a character that you played in The Tudors that was on CBC, and you spent some time in Dublin. Is that correct? Working on the show?
Oh my gosh, that came out of the clear blue sky. I was ready to go back to university, and then that kind of came out of nowhere, came out of left field, and ended up in Dublin for 2 months, I think.
And what was that like? What was that like being a Newfoundlander in Ireland?
Oh, it was amazing. It changed my whole life. Like I remember that summer and think I just kind of found my wings there. It was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great.
So you mentioned earlier that so you've done plays and you've been on television, but you mentioned also some musical theater earlier. And I found this photo of you and another Theatre St. John's alumni, Michael Toronto, who starred in the last 5 years of the Theatre St. John's production with Tina Madigan.
Oh, right. I wish I could have seen that.
And so tell us about that photo and that production. Was it Floyd Collins?
Yeah, Floyd Collins. That is one of my fondest memories of ever. Jonathan Monroe is musical director on that.
Newfoundlander Jonathan Monroe.
Yeah, Newfoundlander Jonathan Monroe. Brilliant Jonathan Monroe. And he kind of approached me, and we got to work with Adam Gettle. He came to work with us in Vancouver, and I remember Jonathan set up a private lesson with Adam Gettle in New York. I got to meet him in person. It was just it was surreal, and just I will treasure that memory always. And the musical is amazing. The musical is not so well known, but it's just such a jewel.
It is a jewel. So if you're out there watching and looking for a new musical soundtrack to listen to, go listen to Floyd Collins. And so you've had Adam Gettle in the room, and you've had David French in the room. And I'm curious if you had the writer of the next play in the room.
And he's no longer with us.
Oh, okay. That's William Shakespeare. And so this is you as Lady Macbeth at the Stratford Festival.
Yeah. Oh
in Lady Macbeth's best, it's a good shot of her. She's looking good.
Yeah, she's in the thick of it.
Is that the famous speech, out damn spot?
Yes, yeah, the sleepwalking scene.
So I have to ask you, the Stratford Festival, for those of you who are watching and not quite familiar, I mean, it is one of the foremost and prestigious acting theater festivals, I'm going to say, in the world. I'd say it's definitely probably in the top 10. And I mean, that stage has seen the likes of like Maggie Smith, and incredible actors and actresses working their craft. So I'm curious for you, because I put you in the same category as the Maggie Smiths and XYZ. How was it to speak that iconic speech on that stage with all of that history underneath you?
It was a tremendous amount of pressure.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, you can kind of feel the support of all the people who came before in the wood of that stage. So you do feel supported and carried, and that theater in particular, there's just a lot going on energy wise. So you do feel the strength of the people that came before. I felt anyway. So that was nice to feel cared for that way.
Oh, that's beautiful. I saw you in that role and you were incredible, Kristen Pellerin.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if I should say beautiful for Lady Macbeth, but I will say beautiful. You were beautiful in that role.
Oh, thank you.
Those hands were so beautifully stained. It was great. It was great. And then so after that, I believe it's after, then you came home and worked on a musical with the one and only Dana Parsons.
Yes, she is hilarious.
This is you guys in rehearsal for Guys and Dolls with Atlantic Light Theatre Company.
Yes, yeah, that was such a treat. It was just so wonderful to come home. And Jacinta and I had always wanted to work together, and it was just a fabulous time.
Oh, that's beautiful. Such a ball. What was you played Sarah?
Yes, yeah.
Do you have a favorite memory of that time playing Sarah in Guys and Dolls?
Oh gosh, I just loved it. It was just like pure joy. I loved I loved playing with the orchestra or singing with the orchestra for the first time. I think that was like, I loved all of it, but that first time when you sing with the orchestra is just a thrill. So that was fun.
You know, it's interesting when with Theatre St. John's, when we have artists come visit Newfoundland and St. John's for any of our shows, it's the one thing that they say that moves them so much is the investment in a pit orchestra for the musicals that we do. And Atlantic Light is the same. And I think a lot of the musical theater companies in the city, in St. John's, they invest the money in making sure there is a pit orchestra. And that doesn't happen across the country.
No.
In some of the bigger like Stratford it does, Shaw it does, but in a lot of the other theaters, they condense the pit orchestra down to 4 or 5 players.
Yeah, it's more of a band, but
yeah.
At home it's like, oh my gosh, if you could bottle this feeling and sell it, like with a whole orchestra behind you, it's really, it's just priceless, that sound.
Let's bottle it then and sell it.
Yeah, we could.
Let's do it.
Do it.
Well, Kristen, I've just got a few more questions for you, and then we're going to call it an evening.
Oh, okay.
It's great
to see you.
It's great to see you. So we're going to do a flash round, and then whatever comes to your head right away, pop it out.
Okay.
All right. What is your favorite word?
Fresh.
What is your least favorite word?
Moist.
What turns you on creatively?
Talented people.
What turns you off?
Selfishness in a rehearsal hall.
Yeah. What sounds or noise do you love?
I love the sound of birds outside the window.
Oh, yeah. I can hear them now in Parkdale. What sound or noise do you hate?
Oh, I hate the sound of really loud fans, or it just grates on me. Just loud whirring noises.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I would. I'd like to be a psychic.
Oh, cool.
That's my backup plan. I don't have any experiences, but
Oh, great. I'll be your first customer. I'd love to know my future from Kristen Pellerin. What profession would you not like to do?
I wouldn't want to be a politician, I don't think.
And then I had a question here. Do you have a dream role play or musical? But you answered that earlier. You only had two. You had Mary, and then there was another one. So I'm gonna change this question. Mary Snow, if you can think back that long ago, what about Mary Snow is most unlike you, Kristen Pellerin?
Her tongue, her bite, the bite that she has. I have it in there somewhere, but she's really got it ready to go.
And then what part of Mary Snow is like you, or what part of you is like Mary Snow?
Mm-hmm. I feel that I can relate to her backbone. So like at the same time, I just feel like even if I'm scared, I still got a backbone, and I can dig my heels in when I need to.
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. Kristen, what a treat this has been to have a conversation with you tonight.
So great. Thank you so much for asking.
Thank you for being a part of the show, and I'm sending you all the love and light from Parkdale.
Oh, you too. I'm sending you lots of love, and be well.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Kristen Pellerin, folks. If you've seen Kristen in any shows in Newfoundland or abroad, let us know. Let us know what shows you saw Kristen in. She really is one of Canada's best, and aren't we lucky to have her as part of our Newfoundland family? So beautiful. It's so beautiful. And while you're at it, let us know where you're watching from. Are you watching from Portugal? Are you watching from Australia? Are you watching from Carbonear? We'd love to know. So now we're going to head into a new segment called Some Good News Wah. And we have two pieces of some good news that I'd like to share with you. The first is about the Black Lives Matter rally in Newfoundland this past week. Thousands turned out for Black Lives Matter Newfoundland rally in St. John's. There were speeches and there was a passionate crowd of what was a successful event aimed to bring attention to racism and discrimination in and around Newfoundland and around the world. And then another piece of some good news, we have a singer from Carbonear. Her name is Rebecca Sellers. She's a 16-year-old Newfoundlander living in Carbonear, Newfoundland, and heading into grade 11. Rebecca, along with her mother, Dana, have been traveling around the Carbonear area, spreading love and joy to seniors who have been isolated during COVID-19, bringing them treats and singing songs for them. So there we can see Rebecca bringing treats and singing some tunes to some folks who are stuck in their homes during these times. And I've also got a clip here of Rebecca singing a tune for her voice teacher. Her voice teacher's name is Sonia Goss, and here's Rebecca singing a bit of The Wizard and I from the musical Wicked. So that's Rebecca Sellers, and she was singing a little bit of The Wizard and I from the musical Wicked, spreading joy and love and song to those who have been stuck in their homes in and around the Carbonear area in Newfoundland because of COVID-19. So if you have some good news, that you'd like to share with us, send us an email to theaterstjohns@gmail.com or through our Facebook page, and we'd love to share it with everyone in the coming weeks. This is a time, I think, that some good news can go a long way. So Let's move on. Let's move forward to our last segment of the evening, and it's called Theatre St. John's Entertains. Our guest this evening is a Juno-nominated, ECMA-nominated performer. She's a two-time winner of the Broadcaster of the Year. In 2004, she was named Jazz Vocalist of the Year at the Canadian National Jazz Awards. Help me in welcoming the one and only Heather Bambrick. Heather!
Hello! I can't believe I have to follow Kristen and Rebecca. Oh my Lord, Rebecca's voice was gorgeous.
Gorgeous, right?
Right?
And she's
so
only,
nice.
She's only 16, going to grade 11.
Unbelievable. There is so much inherent musical theater talent in Newfoundland. It's unbelievable. It really is. It blows my mind.
Isn't it? It's there's like Broadway in the water or something. I'm not sure. I don't know what it is.
I know. We need a street. There's no... St. John's is one of those few cities where there isn't a Broadway. Like,
You're
there's
right.
a Broadway in Toronto. There's a Broadway in like the main honky tonk row in Nashville is Broadway. Of course, there's, the Great White Way in New York. We need a Broadway. We need to like change LeMarchant Road to Broadway or something.
We need a Broadway. You heard it here, folks. First, folks, we need a Broadway. So let's make that happen, Heather. We're gonna put that feeling in a bottle with Kristen, and we're gonna have a Broadway in Newfoundland. Heather, how are you doing?
Keith, I'm so well. Thank you for having me back. This is so much fun.
Thank you for coming back. Come on.
Anytime.
Come on.
Anytime. Absolutely anytime.
Where are you these days?
I'm in Etobicoke. I'm still in the West End of St. John's, although I'm coming home.
Okay.
I got an exemption, so I'm coming home.
When are you allowed to say when? No. We'll keep that.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know why. I like, honest to God, I feel like I'm like escaping Alcatraz or something. It's like I'm filling out forms. I'm swearing to, like I said to Mom and Dad, I was talking to them. Dad's like, well, we can have dinner together. No, we can't. I will be quarantining in the basement like Quasimodo.
Yes.
Like there will be no sitting down and having dinner together for at least 14 days. So
they'll just leave the meals outside your door.
Yeah, pretty well. Like a little plate of lettuce or something, a glass of water.
That salt beef will last a long time on that plate. Don't worry. So you'll be good.
My dear. Yes, sure. That'll be months. I can keep that all
you'll head into the room and there'll just be a bucket of salt beef and you'll be set. Those are 14 days.
Can I just say that the last bucket of salt meat I bought was from your brother's store?
Oh, from Newfoundland up here in Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good salt beef.
Oh, it's really good salt beef. And of course, and nobody here in Ontario knows, like they all think it's meat in a bucket with brine. And I'm going, listen, that is going to last a good 2 years. There's no rush to eat that, my loves. We're fine.
No, we know what it means to be isolated. So
we really do.
COVID's nothing on us. We're good. We're good with our salt beef.
Yeah, with salt beef and hardtack, we're good to go.
Yeah. Did you buy any hardtack in Newfoundland that day?
I don't think I did.
No.
I don't think I did. I probably had some still a little bit left over, and I didn't want to overdo it.
Yeah, that's right. So, maybe we can get Michelle Doyle to come back for Doyle's Dishes and do a recipe with just salt beef and hardtack. That'll be our challenge. That'll be a recipe challenge.
You should do like Newfoundland Chopped, where Michelle's got to open up the basket and there's like baked apple jam and peppermint knobs and hardtack and salt meat and like pineapple crush,
some purity jams, and just you have to make some. Yeah, that's such a good idea. I'm writing
and savory.
Here we go. And savory, yes, just a little sprinkle. Just right, it's Newfoundland's parsley, isn't it?
It is too. I put it in everything.
In everything, yes. I put them in shake.
Everything.
Well, Heather, I could talk to you all night long, but people want to hear you sing.
Well, God love them. And I have to say again, Keith Pike, there are very few people that I would play this much piano for, just so you know. Okay. I normally rely on accompanists all over the place. I have wonderful musicians with whom I get the delight of playing here and home. You got Bill Brennan and Florian Hefner and these amazing Brian Way and amazing piano players at home. But now, of course, because we're in isolation, I've been practicing piano for the last few hours now. So,
all right,
God, now Sister Edwardine's lessons now are all going to come back to me.
Where was that now? What high school was that? Holy Heart.
Oh, Sister Edwardine. No, that was in high school. By the time I got to Hart, Susan Quinn was teaching music. She had just gone from Sue Murphy. She was Sue Murphy. She taught me at Pius.
Yeah.
She was Sue Murphy at Pius, and then she married Todd Quinn, and she taught me at Hart. But Sister Edwardine taught lessons down at Mercy Convent, and I used to go there on Saturday mornings. And I was terrible because I still don't read. So I don't sight read well. I'm all about ear. Like I remember, I remember her first. I can't play it now, but first little Desperado, why don't you come to your senses? And figuring out that that's what those chords were, and not knowing that was like C and then C7 and then F and then F minor 7. I didn't know what any of that was, and so Sister Edwardine saw me like memorizing and looking down at the keys. She used to rap my knuckles because I was depending on my ear and not on my sight reading. So it's done me well, I suppose, in jazz, but not as a piano major.
And for those of you watching that may not be from Newfoundland, the sisters, there's a rich tradition in Newfoundland of the sisters. I think rapping knuckles for sure, but certainly filling the hearts and souls and imaginations of students with music and culture. Would you say?
And fear, sometimes.
But
no, absolutely. I mean, quite honestly, if you look at Sister Catherine from Hart, all the wonderful choir work that she did. I mean, Sister Edwardine taught many a student. There were so many, particularly the Mercy Convent nuns, who did exceptional work when it came to music instruction. My dad grew up in Mount Cashel. And then he went to St. Bon's later, and he used to go down to the Sisters of Mercy for his theory lessons when he was a young man. So they were so well known for their musical knowledge and so respected that, if you're watching not from Newfoundland, we have a rich culture of the nuns teaching us all over the years.
We do, and that tradition carries on, and it carries on in you, Heather. So what are you going to sing tonight for us?
I thought I would do a couple of tunes. So the first, I'll tell you what the second tune is when we get there. The first tune, this is actually from a musical, seeing as we're talking musical theater a little bit, the musical Flowers in the Attic. And it was written by Harold Arlen and Truman Capote, of all people.
I don't know this musical, and I think I know everything about musical theater, and now I don't.
Diane Carroll.
Tell me more.
Diane Carroll played in this one, so the only reason I know it is because I started singing the song, and then I read a story about Barbra Streisand. How Barbra Streisand, it was either on the Jack Parr show or the Jack Benny show. I think it was Jack Parr, and she was trying to choose what tune she was going to do. She had all the music laid out in front of her, and she saw the sheet music for A Sleepin' Bee. And then they told the story about how Diane Carroll had performed it in Flowers in the Attic, and that Harold Arlen wrote it with Truman Capote, and Barbra Streisand did it in her did it on the show that night, and then started doing it in her live shows ever since then. So I thought, how fun is that? I'm kind of ish following in Barbara's footsteps, ish.
More than ish. That's a capital letter ish there, Heather.
God love you, Keith. Thank you, darling.
All right. Well, I won't keep it. Well, take it away.
All right. Now I got to put these things on because now I have to read music and stuff. So.
Okay.
So again, this is Harold Arlen and Truman Capote and a tune called A Sleepin' Bee.
Great.
When a bee lies sleeping in the palm of your hand, you're bewitched and deep in love's long looked after land, where you'll see a sun up sky and the morning dew, and where the days go laughing by when love comes calling on you. Sleep on, bee, don't waken. I can't believe what just passed. He's mine for the taking, and I'm so happy at last. Maybe I dreamed, but he seemed sweet golden as a crown. A sleeping bee done told me I walk with my feet off the ground, with my one true love I have found. sleeping in the palm of your hand. Oh, you'll be rich and deep in love's long looked after land, where you'll see a sun-up sky in the morning dew, and where the days go laughing by when love comes calling on you. Sleep on me, don't waken. I can't believe what just passed. He's mine for the taking, and I'm so happy at last. Maybe I dreamed, but he seemed sweet golden as a crown. A sleeping bee done told me I walk with my feet off the ground, with my one true love, with my one true love, with my one true love, my one true love I have found. When a bee lies sleeping in the palm of your hand, when a bee lies sleeping, he makes me work out, I tell you. One of the things that I have done here in Ontario is I'm constantly crowing about being from Newfoundland and constantly talking about how proud I am as a Newfoundlander, and I talk a lot about home. And one of the things that has happened in doing so is I end up doing Newfoundland folk songs as part of my sets. And there's one that I recorded on my first album. I actually arranged it for my graduation recital from U of T. And every time I do this song, it's so funny. People react, whether they're from Newfoundland or not. People love this song, and it's kind of the unofficial anthem. We have the Ode to Newfoundland, and we have this as our unofficial second anthem. It was written by Otto Kelland, and my dear pal Keith Power from Goulds, Newfoundland, who now lives in California and is tearing it up in California. Keith and I were at U of T together, and he helped me arrange this song. So this is Otto Kelland's "Let Me Fish Off Cape St. Mary's." Take me back to my western boat. Let me fish off Cape St. Mary's, where the hagdown sail and the foghorns wail. With my friends, the Browns and the Clearys, let me fish off Cape St. Mary's. Let me feel my dory lift to the broad Atlantic combers, where the tide rips swirl and the wild ducks whirl, where old Neptune draws the numbers 'neath the broad Atlantic combers. When I reach that last big shoal, where the ground swells break asunder, where the wild sands roll to the surge's toll, let me be a man and take it when my dory fails to make it. me back to that snug green cove where the seas roll up their thunder. There let me rest 'neath the earth's cool breast, where the stars shine out their wonder, and the seas roll up their thunder. Take me back to my western boat. Let me fish off Cape St. Mary's, where the hag down sail and the foghorns wail, with my friends, the Browns and the Clearys. Let me fish off Cape St. Mary's. Gets you, right?
It is. I tell you, Heather, it is the only song that makes my heart pang to be back in Newfoundland.
Yeah. I have a hard time singing it without getting choked up, like honestly. Yeah. And it's funny, as I mentioned before I sang it, it's funny how many people come to see shows and really just go, oh my God. I mean, no matter where they're from. Well, we went there once. My husband and I went on a trip and we get it. Now I know why you sing that song. It's, and I have to tell you a quick story too. There's a local pub by me called the Galway Arms. It's where I always go when we're not in COVID. And my sister was visiting one time. My sister lives in Washington now, and Karen was here visiting, and we went out for dinner, and then we popped by for a drink on the way home. And as we were leaving, we were stopped by a few fellas from Ireland, because everybody from Ireland goes here when they first get to Toronto. Okay. And they stopped and they were chatting with us, and we started, getting into conversations, and they found out we were from Newfoundland. They call Newfoundland County Canada. Speaking of when Kristen was talking about, doing the Tudors in Ireland, they call Newfoundland County Canada. And they said, one guy, I'll never forget, his name was Mick. And he said, now tell me, do you know the song? There's a song about fishing off to Cape St. Mary's. Do you know that song? I said, do we know it? So my sister and me and about 8 people from Ireland shut the bar down. It was probably 3:00 in the morning. They knew all the words, and we were all singing away. It's one of those songs.
It really is. And the line from the song with my friends, the Browns and the Clarys, it just visions of community and how community is so important in Newfoundland and where we're from. I don't know. It's just so beautiful, and that rendition. It's my new fave.
Thank you. I love it. This is like from 1997 was when I actually did this particular arrangement. So it's been a while.
Wow, that was beautiful. And your piano playing was poo. It was great. It was fabulous.
I get by. It's COVID piano playing. Pandemic piano.
The sisters would be proud.
Sister Edwardina's up there somewhere going, she's still memorizing. I know she is.
Oh, that's right. Well, Heather,
listen, can I just jump in too, Keith, before yes. I know you need to sign up, but speaking of community, what you're doing with this, helping out community, helping out the theater community, bringing Newfoundlanders together, helping us kind of feel, for those of us who have been living away, bringing us back home for a few moments, and doing what you can with the food banks and the community that you're supporting is so vital, and you're such a huge part of it. And I just want to say, if I may be so bold on behalf of everybody, thank you for what you're doing, because I know this is not easy doing what you do, and I know you have a lot going on. So the fact that you're doing this, you're a huge part of this community, and we're all pretty lucky to have you as a part of it.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you. Well, we do what we can. Hey. Whatever Absolutely. We can, we do it, and I think that's in our Newfoundland blood. Whatever we can do, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. We always have, and we always will.
And we always will. And it's that It's that moving forward direction. I think that is so important, and so we will. We always will. You're right. Well, Heather, so good to see you again.
You too, my darling.
Thank
Great
you
to
for
see
being
Can't
here.
wait till I see you in person.
I can't wait, and we'll do a tight old hug, and we'll sing Cape St. Mary's at the Merchant Tavern. That's what we'll do.
Yes. Okay, you're on. I'm holding you
We're
there.
on.
You're on.
So folks, if you're out there and you want to hear more Heather, you can tune into jazz.fm. Is it every morning, Heather?
Yeah, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. till 1 p.m. here in Toronto. I broadcast and do the Heather Bambrick Show every day, and I talk a lot about Newfoundland, so you'll get your fix in there too.
Okay, so tune in, perk your coffee, and go listen to Heather, and then you can check out Heather at heatherbambrick.ca and also on Heather's YouTube page. Thank you so much, Heather. All the love and light to you.
Thanks, Keith.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, darling. Sending it right back to you. Bye.
What a show, folks. What a show. Kristen Pellerin, Heather Bambrick, thank you both so much for being a part of tonight's Hope on the Rock. A big thank you to Evan Smith for joining in at the top of our show to sing our jingle. And a big thank you to Brian Kenny, who is our main sound guy for the show. Brian, no one would be able to hear us if it wasn't for you. So thank you, Brian. And a big thank you to all of you for tuning in tonight and for supporting Hope on the Rock and for supporting virtual community. Where I think we're starting to learn what virtual community means and what that may look like. So if you had a great time tonight, head on over to www.gofundme.com/hope-on-the-rock and throw us a little donation. All of the donations from the show, they go towards theater artists that are in need. And local food banks that are in need. This is a tough time for a lot of people. I know for the theater artists out there, we're not going to be back on stage until probably Christmas or afterwards. So anything that you can do is a great help. So thank you again for tuning in and for watching, and all the love and light to all of you. Peace.